Please know that my boyfriend is a very good person and that I love him very much, but I feel like I'm at my breaking point because I can't compete with his life anymore and I really need some advice. Full disclosure, my boyfriend and I moved very quickly in our relationship. It was the type of instant and intense love at first sight, where it felt almost uncanny how similar we were. I felt such an instant and intimate connection to him that I didn't think twice about quitting my career and moving to a different state with him quite quickly, and despite that risk it actually worked out really well until recently. I began noticing last winter that I felt more like an accessory to my boyfriend's life and that he seemed like he was still living a bachelor life. The first major fracture of our relationship was when he merged businesses with a friend on a whim and moved cities to go work with him, meaning that instead of being home every night like he normally was, he was gone 3 to 4 days a week. I won't lie to say that I was furious. I wanted to be happy and supportive of his business decisions, but he made literally no effort in discussing this to me beforehand. The next fracture came from something that I had signed up for willingly, but it has become a problem as I've grown to start feeling resentful. My boyfriend owns a business with his family, who he is extremely close with. All of his time, when he is back home, gets put into the family business. In the beginning, I was really enthusiastic about this business, and I would volunteer time to get to know his parents and the community better, but now I want nothing to do with it, because it feels like there's way too much expectation for me to engage with it. His parents were very welcoming to me, and they entrusted me to do a lot with the business, which I was happy to do, but now that my boyfriend is gone most of the week, it seems like even more of my time is being spent maintaining aspects of my boyfriend's life instead of me trying to carve a place for myself in my new home. Then there's the problem that when my boyfriend is at home, all of his time goes into this family business, and so I feel even further away from the main cast of his life. Weirdly enough, now I'm much closer with my boyfriend's sister than I'm with my boyfriend, as her and I hang out and talk more than I do with him, which would be a lovely and beautiful thing if I also had that with my boyfriend, but instead I feel that if it weren't for his sister supporting me, I'd be abandoned. Finally, the last major fracture is the dog we have together. Our dog is a highly energetic breed and requires a lot of attention and time. This was no issue in the beginning and the dog always felt naturally like my dog, but it was the expectation that both my boyfriend and I would take care of her. Yet now our dog seems to have been backseated, just like me. For example, if I've asked my boyfriend to watch the dog because I'm vacuuming or cooking, or even want time by myself, he will take her for 20 minutes and then eventually lose concentration until she comes to find me in hopes I will play with her. I actually had a bit of a freak out about this when my boyfriend and I were invited to a big family celebration a few weeks ago. I told my boyfriend that I didn't want to bring the dog because she is way too excitable around people and I just wanted to focus on meeting some of his extended family and making a good first impression with them, since he is so close to his family. My boyfriend begged me to take the dog with us because he missed her. I reluctantly agreed, only because he swore that he would take care of her and that there would be a lot of other dogs there. My boyfriend also promised he wouldn't drink because my car was in the shop and we had to drive his vehicle, which is standard and something I can't drive because I never learned how to drive stick. We show up and embarrassingly we are the only people there with a dog. My boyfriend abandoned me almost immediately to spend time and to catch up with his family members, who I couldn't meet because my dog is extremely excitable around people, so I have to stay in the outer circle of the fun with her so that she can remain relaxed. Worse yet is the hostess and a few people who helped her set up swung by and commented that they were hoping that this would be a no dog party and that they would make sure I know next time when dogs aren't allowed, and it felt so awfully embarrassing to me that I nearly cried. There I was, all alone at a party where I don't know anyone, with an animal tied to my hand which clearly was extremely unwelcomed, and to make it worse now looks like it was my idea because I'm hanging on the sidelines avoiding people instead of socializing. Even more devastating was when I did finally find my boyfriend. He was already halfway to being drunk, to which he laughed and said to me we can just take a taxi. Through gritted teeth, I then told him we can't. We have the dog. The only thing that saved us was my boyfriend's extremely nice uncle, who I think was a mind reader or something. He came up to me as I was nearly in tears and asked me how I was getting home. I explained the situation and he gave me the keys to his car so that me, the dog and my boyfriend could get home that night. That last situation very much felt like the final straw, and we had a massive blowout about it. It wasn't the first conversation we had about this type of thing, and yet over and over and over again my boyfriend keeps telling me I'm #1 and tell me what to do so I can change. But I don't want to be that person who is the dictator in someone else's life and keep putting up ultimatums. I don't want to have to feel like I'm competing with someone else's life, or like I have to explain to them how to treat me like a girlfriend instead of just some afterthought. We had a conversation again last night where I told him I was unhappy and I asked him if he understood why. I was hoping, praying, that from all of our conversations he would know. And yet all he could say was that he could tell I was unhappy in our relationship, but he didn't understand what for. I went numb. It feels like if I walked out tomorrow nothing in his life would change, except maybe he wouldn't have to have conversations anymore about how impossible it is to make me happy. I just feel like an accessory and it hurts so bad. Yet I still don't know if this relationship is worth giving up, because my boyfriend does love me and we align so well in our life goals. I finally broke down and spilled the beans to his sister, who calmly said my brother is a good man and I can see he loves you very much, but he's always been immature in his relationships and his idea of compromising is him saying he's willing to compromise. She then told me that she would support me no matter what I do. Does anyone know what I can do? Has anyone ever felt like an accessory in their relationship? TL. Doctor. My boyfriend continues to live his life as a bachelor despite me living with him and us building a life together. He makes big decisions by himself without talking to me about them, and I feel like I have to run his life when he's gone. His total freedom in his life makes me feel chained to maintaining our relationship instead of us being equal life partners. Is it over? Actions need to align with words. When he says you're #1 and doesn't show you that and you stay, he's learned all he has to do is say the right things, deal with an argument, and change nothing. You moved quickly and now you're finding out who he is. This is who he is. Notice how the sister points this out too. Him *saying*. He is willing to compromise. In other words, people who know him already know he says words to placate people, but doesn't follow them through with the actual actions. Op is finding this out to her cost now. You can tell if it's bad enough to be over quite easily. Usually when you write out a big long Reddit post about how this just isn't working. TBH you lost me at he decided to merge his friend's business without talking to me about it and stay away 3/4 nights a week. Do you really think if you did leave he'd even notice at this point? He's not thinking like a partner. Not easy advice, I know, but you need to end it. Another hint is when his own sister basically tells you you'd be happier if you broke up with him. Oh honey, the fact that he's 33 and clearly hasn't grown up is a bit of an issue. The fact he leaves you behind, doesn't communicate, ignores your requests and just does his own thing instead is a big red flag. He may love you and tells you he loves you, but he does not respect you. If he wanted to change he would have already. I think it would be best to move on if you're so frustrated about this many things. Eventually you'll resent him, and that's not a path you want to go down when in the beginning of a relationship. The level of immaturity with this guy, can you imagine having kids with him? Getting married? Course based off of how he puts you and your puppy on the back shelf will likely happen if you have kids, and you'll be stuck with all that work and will definitely continue if you get married. Think about what you want, because clearly he isn't thinking or even considering what you want or your needs in this relationship. Best of luck op. You say you are building a life together, but it sounds like he is doing whatever he wants and you're there enabling him to do so. You say you have similar life goals. What are they? And do they include children? A man who cannot take care of his own dog is very unlikely to take care of children. I definitely agree. I wouldn't have children with someone who doesn't even responsible about relationships to take care of a dog. We align so well in our life goals. From what you wrote I don't see it. His life goal seems furthering his family business, doing what he wants, maybe have a family of his own, but it doesn't seem like he plans to do anything for that family if he doesn't even make time for his GF or his dog. Please reflect on what your common values actually are, and if he's capable and willing to pursue them with you, and how he really is a great BF apart from the following problems. I struggle to see the great relationship happen from what you wrote on those 3 to 4 evenings after you took care of everything and the dog. Yes, if they have kids, they are going to be 100% Op's responsibility, and he'll have her trot them out to show them off at family events, and he'll get drunk while she takes care of the children, just like with the dog. It sounds like he wants a girlfriend and a dog and perhaps 2.5 kids, but he doesn't want to do the work for any of these things. He wants them as accessories. Really, at the party you should have told the commenters that you wanted to leave the dog at home, but the boyfriend insisted. Personally, after being left alone, I would have lasted around 15 minutes, 30 maximum, before went home. So what can you do? Stop being a doormat. It feels like, if I walked out tomorrow nothing in his life would change. I just feel like an accessory and it hurts so bad. Neither of those two sound good for a healthy relationship. Is it over? From what you wrote, it sounds like it is already over for him. Is it over for you? That depends on how much more of this **** you can put up with. I agree, but in this specific case, she wasn't in a position to get home easily, as she couldn't drive the car and public transportation was not possible with the dog. All of these fractures are more than enough for the whole relationship to fall apart. It's time to take the dog and move on. I'm gonna keep it short. When you feel like a side character in someone's life, it's time to go. Talk is cheap. You need to stop listening to what he says and really only pay attention to what he does, the pattern of what he does, his unwillingness to change, and his either real because he hasn't been listening to you or feigned ignorance about why you're so unhappy. Based on that, I think the answer is clear. Undeniably clear. I still don't know if this relationship is worth giving up because my boyfriend does love me and we align so well in our life goals. But if he's not present for you and he's conducting himself without consideration of you, are the love and goal alignment really that compelling? They are just concepts in the ether that do very little for your day-to-day life and building a life together. If this is what you want, the relationship isn't over. But that really doesn't sound like the case. If you tell him you're on the verge of breaking up because of these issues, he may say a lot of right things that make it sound like he'll be a better partner, but he has a history of saying things he doesn't live up to. So even if he offers reassurances and commitments, he has to follow through with sustainability. That would be a total 180 for him. You've told this man what you wanted till you were blue in the face, and he still doesn't understand what he can do to make you happy. No amount of saying, screaming, crying, begging, discussing, or arguing will make him understand. He does not want to understand. He wants to keep you with him and will keep asking what can I do to change, because that will keep you on the hook longer. It's just lip service and you're not gonna get much better than that. He told you yes I will watch the dog and no I will not drink, and guess what? He did both those things despite promising you he wouldn't. Why would you wanna be with someone who willfully breaks a promise like that? I left someone like this nearly 2 years ago and found someone who shows me how much I mean to him with his actions by following through on promises to me, doesn't just give me lip service, and actively includes me in his life and planning. I don't even live with him, but he's constantly asking my opinion / what I'd like to do with the house he owns. Don't you want someone who will carve space for you instead of having to do it yourself? Who the heck brings an excitable dog to someone's party? You seem to go a long way too often with your boyfriend's dumbus ideas. Leave this guy and make your own life instead of just being a tiny portion of his. Right? I wouldn't have given a how much this dude begged and whined about missing his dog. There's no way I would have risked everything that can go wrong bringing an excitable dog to a large party. When he pulled his vanishing act she should have tracked him down, handed him the leash, and left. Also, who ditches their partner at a large family gathering where said partner doesn't know most of the people? You seem like a people pleaser, which isn't a bad thing. but you are being walked all over by your boyfriend and potentially his family. You sound like an overworked assistant vs partner in life. Being kind is a good thing, but being a people pleaser is a bad thing. People pleaser equals being a doormat. I, 29F, feel like a side character in my BS, 33 meters, life. Because that is exactly what you are. You gave up your life, and like a nice snuggly jacket delivered by Amazon was shipped into his life to make it comfortable. No matter what great qualities he has, he is living his life for himself, and you are there on an as-needs basis, not a true partner. I strongly suggest you treat yourself a little better, and stop being a thing for you saw a sidekick in someone else's story. Hey Opus. You write really well, and it's clear that you totally understand your situation. If you are here looking for validation that breaking up the right choice, here it is. Yes, you are right. Yes, he is wrong. Yes, his words are meaningless. Yes, he hurt you over and over. Yes, he dismisses you. Yes, you deserve more. Being this self-absorbed doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, but it makes you a terrible boyfriend and an even worse husband. It's been time to leave for a while. Tell me what I need to do to fix this. After you tell them what the problem is the only red flag you need. The relationship is only broken for you, and he's telling you that you're the one responsible for fixing it. If you try, you'll either fail outright or succeed and win a ton of resentment for the trouble for stifling him. If you don't want to leave right now, stay but take your life back. Get a job, get your own hobbies, get your own friends, and prioritize literally everything involving him. At the very least, this will make it easier to leave when the time inevitably comes. If there was any hope, he wouldn't need to ask you what he needs to do to fix it. Oh man, I just want to say right off the rip that reading about your experience at the party was so uncomfortable. I'm just a stranger on the internet, but I can't even imagine how uncomfortable you must have been in person there. Your boyfriend sucks for that, and I'm surprised you were able to hold your tongue, because if it were me, I would have called him out real quick. Friends and family be damned. Your boyfriend definitely sounds selfish. He made the decision to move cities without even consulting you first. His partner. Who does that? It's incredibly inconsiderate, and it just goes to show that he will put himself first always. All of what you've wrote in this post points me to the conclusion that he just doesn't care about the relationship. The party bit, especially because who invites their partner to a social event where you won't really know anybody and then ditches them to go get drunk after they specifically said they wouldn't, and to make matters worse left you being the odd one out since he so badly wanted the dog there and probably didn't even pay a lick of attention to it. You sound uncomfortable and upset in this relationship, and I think you know it's high time you move on. There's other people out there that won't treat you like a background character. My boyfriend is amazing and a great person. It's just he neglects me, the dog, and doesn't consider my wants and needs when making big life decisions, and repeatedly saddles me with responsibilities he abandons. Does that sum it up? Leave. Yes. And when I started feeling that way, I left. I didn't wait around for further disappointment. It certainly sounds like the relationship is over. At least you got a friendship out of it. It sounds like you are in a relationship with him, but he isn't in one with you. I just want to give kudos for your boyfriend's sister for being a supportive friend and being honest about her brother's shortcomings to you. I feel like I see so many posts in this sub about their partner's family members being total monsters to them just to excuse bad behavior, so it's a breath of fresh air to see it's not always the case. I don't really understand why you want to save this relationship, Opus. Too bad you're not attracted to his sister. She sounds perfect for you. Good luck finding your autonomous direction. You have so much more to offer the world than this. How long have you been together total? Recently doesn't mean much here without context. The time to break up was ages ago. I'm surprised you're still with him, tbh. You feel like a side character because you are one. He's not treating you like a partner or even a separate individual person with your own needs and desires. His behavior is a definition of inconsiderate. He's literally not considering you at all. This post reminds me of games like Skyrim, where you can hire followers to help you out. Despite just meeting them, they'll be like, sure, I'll drop everything and fully dedicate my life to following you, doing your bidding, and carrying all your shit. Don't worry about consulting me before we start fighting a dragon together. I'll bet anything that had you taken things at a more cautious and responsible pace, you would've seen the red flags in his behavior sooner. Just something to keep in mind for your next relationship. It was insane to toss aside a career for a guy you barely knew. Despite how much you may feel like you click with someone, it takes time to get to know someone's real character. Now you're seeing it. Good luck getting your career back. Honestly, you aren't a priority in his life. You don't really have your own life there, and his wants take up so much space on your life that you don't have any room for your own life. Personally, I think I'd move on from him and focus on building my own life, then seeking a partner. He is extremely disrespectful to you and expects you to just tag along on whatever he wants and clean up all of his messes. You should honestly answer yourself if the reality of the situation is I moved very fast with someone I barely knew. He turned out to be inconsiderate and now I'm too embarrassed to admit it. You didn't say how long you were together before last winter and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems deliberate. Becky's, you know, people would point out it wasn't very long and you are just now starting to see who he is. Don't waste time trying to convince yourself that he is a dream guy and your goals align so well. He barely seems to acknowledge your goals and needs.